Inconsistently consistent.
Hello, welcome back to Inconsistently Consistent, the podcast where we are about to rant because this is whole. This is
It's a
whole.
lot.
This is a lot.
It's a lot.
My name's Rachel.
And I'm Melanie.
And this is a lot. Whole Melanie.
It's a lot.
How you been? I feel like it's been forever since we spoke, even though it's been like a few days. Actually, a few
Yeah,
days.
I mean, like a few days. Like the last gap was only like not even 24 hours. What have we been doing with our time?
I mean, I'm working, hating our work.
Yeah.
I've been talking to my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend?
My boyfriend. I did tell my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And did I tell you? Pretty sure I did.
You did
Yeah.
say that you did.
Yes. And it kind of went how I expected. They weren't mad, but they were kind of just like neutral, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because my
Long
mom.
distance is a hard pill to swallow anyway.
Yeah.
And then you go with like, oh, I met this person online.
Mm-hmm.
And then, people that are not millennials are probably more skeptical.
Mm-hmm. 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 Because like it was so funny. It was kind of funny. I could see my mom trying to like process it in her head after I told her because she was just sitting at the table. She was like, okay. And like I told them because I literally was like, okay, this is what happened. This is the scenario. This is who he is and all these things. And there was like silence after I said that. And I was just like, oh no.
Did your sister, was your sister hearing about this at the same time, like for the first time?
No, I told her the night before because I knew she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going to be there.
Okay. I
But
wondered if your sister was there at the same time and like maybe she could have been a buffer, you know?
I don't know. It was just like I told her the night before just because she was out working in the bush
Mm-hmm.
and
Zabush.
the bush and she was kind of like I literally texted her and I was like, oh yeah, we're official now, and she's like, what? Hold the phone. You can't just drop this on me when I'm in the bush. I was like, sorry. But yeah, so like it went how I kind of expected. But my mom was just like, I'm just trying to. She was sitting there. She's like, and God love my mom. But she literally was sitting there, and my dad's like, well, that's how people meet nowadays. Like my dad was very chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's how
Just goes with
people.
the flow.
Yeah, he's like, that's how people meet nowadays. And my mom goes, well, do you remember that SVU episode we saw about the two people that met online and they both end up dying? And I was like,
You
oh
mean
my.
every episode?
I was thinking every episode of SVU. Like, and then she was like, I've seen enough 90 Day Fiance. I was like, I've also seen enough 90 Day Fiance, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't worry.
I've not seen any 90 Day Fiance, but
You,
I know things.
you've heard enough about it to get the gist of
Yeah.
it.
Between you and Lexi, because you both
Yeah.
love it.
Oh my god, yes. I'm thinking of trying to see if I can get him to watch an episode. Just because like so Adam, my sister's boyfriend,
Mhm.
was like, oh my god, these TLC shows are trash. He was like, I don't know why you watch them. Guess who's hooked on 90 Day Fiance?
Adam.
Adam.
He got there eventually.
He got there eventually. But yeah, no. So yeah, it kind of went how it was. And then my grandma called my mom when we were doing our dinner. So then it was just me and dad. And my dad was like, all right. He's like, what do you know about this guy? And I literally rattled off every single piece of detail that I knew about him. And my dad goes, okay. He's like, might have to make a Twitch account now so I can creep him.
Of course. Of course. The creep.
I was like, listen, you could. And I told Brandon that, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I respect that. He's like, I respect it. And I was like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what is he gonna do? Like, in this day and age, when you can willingly just like easily creep on anybody, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody's like a streamer, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
family members. I creeped them, though I don't have very much of an attention span, so I only got through like a minute.
Oh, okay.
And I
Oh,
was
you
like,
watched
checks
one of
out,
his
checks out.
VODs. Okay.
Yeah, for like a minute,
Okay.
because my attention span. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, okay, sorry, I can't do this. It's there's nobody jingling their keys. I can't pay attention.
Okay. I'll have to tell him the next time he streams he needs to jingle some keys so you can pay attention.
He needs to like have some flashing lights,
He does.
something.
Something.
Right?
Can you jingle some keys so my friend can pay attention? Thanks, babe.
He does that. Send me the clip. It kills me.
Oh my gosh, yes. But anyways, that's kind of, yeah. I mean, and I was telling my sister about everything, and they were like, "Are you sure you didn't rush into it and everything?" And I was like, "No, I didn't rush. Like it feels right." Just describing it to them, and my sister goes, "I don't think I was asked that question." I was like, "No, I don't think you were either." So yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I had a cry earlier today because I seen a TikTok that made me emotional, and I was just like, "Ah!"
Not the emotional TikToks.
I see it, and there was a line in it, and that was like, it was like one of those things where it's like, my boyfriend does this, my boyfriend does that, and then on the last slide there was like a giant paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things was like, he's healing a heart he didn't break, and I was like, eh.
You've gotten so sentimental, Rachel.
I know it's only
Is
been a
this
week.
catching?
It might be catching. I think it is.
I think it's contagious.
I think it's contagious. Anyways, speaking of things that are contagious,
Betrayal.
betrayal is contagious. If you listen to our last episode, which we talked about top 10 betrayals,
Spoiler.
let me just remind you of the list. I think I still have it, unless I threw it out, which. Anyways,
it only matters but the first one.
the first
top
one.
number one, spoiler alert, betrayal of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky and Steve.
And
When
this is.
Steve just fucks off to the past and says, screw you, Bucky, no longer till the end of the line. No, I made lots of promises over 100 years, but you know what? I don't like you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did.
That's
It's
what we
canon.
did. We spent a good 20 minutes of the last episode talking about it, and then we realized very quickly we had to move on because we could talk about this forever,
For hours.
which is what we're doing. We're not going to talk for hours, but we are going to talk about it because this is a sore spot for me in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? As a huge Marvel fan, as somebody who has characters tattooed on her back, this is a very sore spot. And I have Cap and Bucky both on my back because I do like them as characters, but Steve is still a fucking bitch for what he did to Bucky.
You know what? I am no longer attracted to Chris Evans because of this moment in cinematic history. It's just ruined it. Sebastian Stan's still good though.
I love Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. Poor Sebastian.
He didn't deserve
His character
that.
was done so dirty. And not even in a good way. That we would watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would.
Yes. 100%. So, before we get into this a bit more, speaking of watch, Brandon saw one of my TikToks I made, and it was the one where I did Smash or Pass for Dead by Daylight Killers.
And
So obviously the one that I said smash to, Ghostface, aka Daddy
course.
Loomis, aka Ghosty, because like there's something wrong with me.
Yes, you had to be specific about which Ghostface though, because some of them
hmm
not so smashable.
Daddy Loomis.
Hmm.
And we were talking about Dead by Daylight because I was like, oh, you might have to download it. And I was like, oh, I hate this killer. And he's like, oh, but if it's the one with the mask, you're okay with that, right? Because you want to be killed by that one. And I was like, I was like, did you watch my TikTok? He's like, yep, I did. I was like, okay.
Very good, very good.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
We still good? We still good? Yeah.
No,
Okay,
we're
good.
good. We're still good. And then he goes, I need to go to the Halloween store for no apparent reason. And I was like, no
No reason, no reason.
reason at all. Just a casual go to the Halloween store, just pick up something. No reason. All right.
He goes in and he's like, I would like one Daddy Loomis costume. You've got one? Is it in the back?
And they're like, explain. And he's like, you know what I mean. And they're like,
He's
and
like,
then he's like,
this is the canonical name of this killer.
mm-hmm.
Daddy Loomis.
Daddy Loomis is the canonical name of Ghostface. But yes.
Ghostface who?
Ghostface who? Daddy Loomis who? But yes. Let's get into this because we're going to get really heated.
Yes, you can't avoid it forever, Rachel.
I know.
Just sink into the just rage of this.
All right. Okay. So
let's talk about what actually happened first.
Yes.
Let's start it off.
Yes.
Right? Early on, when you first meet the Steve and the Bucky,
mm-hmm.
right? Best friends
mm-hmm.
since childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, skinny little shit of him, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always getting in fights, always
Mm-hmm.
getting in trouble, and Bucky has to bail him out.
Mm-hmm.
But Steve is like too big for his britches, and he's like, I'm going to war. But, can't get there because they won't let him sign up because he's too sickly.
He is too skinny, and he also has like so many health problems.
Yeah.
I don't think he was conscripted. I do think he signed up because I believe this was post Pearl Harbor, or right around the time Pearl Harbor happened that he signed up.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought he was conscripted.
No, the U.S. didn't conscript people.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't join the war till 1942, so they weren't conscripting people to go over and fight.
Yeah. I don't know why that was in my head. Yeah, he enlisted, but I don't know. In my head, I was like, was he conscripted? I think he was conscripted.
I mean, he was conscripted into Hydra.
Yeah.
That's probably what you were thinking.
Different thing.
Yeah, different thing.
Yeah. But, where were we on this? Oh, yeah. Steve eventually gets there.
Mm-hmm.
After, they jack him up with some good steroids. And then all of a sudden he just, inflates to be Chris Evans.
Yeah.
But it's all hot air, Rachel. It is. It's a lie.
It's all a lie. Because they inject him with some stuff.
Yeah. But he's always been like, me and Bucky, to the end of the line. I'm with you to the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he fails that more than just the once. Like, there's one big one at the end of the season. Like, the series. I mean.
The season.
The series of movies. Whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But
yeah.
I think there's more failures.
There is a lot of failures if we think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Steve can only join. He decides to volunteer for the experiment to become a super soldier. And he starts off by being a poster boy to be like, you should buy a war bond so you can support the troops. Ha da 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 da.
Yeah, they make him do a bunch of performances and stuff when he just wants to actually fight and help people.
Yeah, they make him do a bunch of skits and everything, and there's the song, "Who saw brave da 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 da."
Not too much. Copyright.
You know, and he finds out that basically Bucky's unit has been taken hostage, and he's like, I'm gonna go rescue them, even though I'm supposed to be dancing on stage.
Hmm.
So, he does that. And I guess, like, I don't know if our listeners know or not, but Steve doesn't have any family because I think his dad died shortly after World War One. I could be mistaken. Let me do a quick Google search. Let
Yeah,
me
because wasn't
see.
the story that he ended up having to move in with Bucky
No,
as a
he
kid or
didn't
something?
move in with Bucky. Bucky said he could, but he was like, "No, I'm good on my own," type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Um.
It's been a
Yes.
long time since
So
I watched the
his
original.
father was killed by mustard gas during World War One, and then his mom died of tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he Bucky said you could move in because like there's that scene, I think it's in Winter Soldier, where Bucky has a flashback or Steve has a flashback of them coming back from Steve's mom's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky's like, we can set up like the mattresses in the living room like we used to when we were young and everything. So, and he's like, no, I'm good on my own. He's like, you don't have to do things on your own. I think Bucky was the first one who said, I'm with you till the end of the line. I think he was the one who originally said it.
The only one that tried to keep that.
He did try to keep the promise so hard, okay?
Yeah.
He tried to keep it so hard.
Yeah. The first thing that I think Steve failed at is when, like, after he finally got Bucky out the
Mhm.
first time from Hydra,
Mhm.
and they didn't realize Bucky had this super soldier serum already in him,
Mhm.
right? Or at least part of it. He might
Mhm.
not have been fully there yet. But they're on the train, Bucky falls, and then how long did this guy look for him? Because Bucky gets taken by Hydra again and
Mhm.
becomes the Fist of Hydra.
Mhm.
But how long did Steve look? Like in the movie, it just looked like Bucky falls and Steve's like, no, Bucky. But then, like, well, then I guess I got other things to do today.
Mhm.
Gone again, right? Like, you don't see anything about him, like, searching for him or sending someone to go, like, even just recover his body if he thought he was dead.
Mhm.
But no, it's just like, ah, I worked so hard to get you back. Well, that's enough Good Samaritan time. I'll be off to war.
Yeah, I don't know if we know how long he looked for him or if he looked for him.
Exactly.
Um,
I'm going to try to look it up.
mhm. I'm also looking it up, and I can't see anything that says he actually looked for him.
Yeah. Um. Da, 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 da. Okay. So I found a nice timeline
Mhm.
that said that Bucky. Um. So Bucky gets captured by Hydra October 1943, the first time.
Mhm.
Then he's rescued by Steve November 1943, so just a month later.
Mhm.
But in 1944, that's when Captain America and the Howling Commandos are happening with
Mhm.
Bucky in there, right?
Yes.
And then January 1945, Bucky is presumed killed in action
Mhm.
on that train thing. But
Yes. He falls off the train. Yeah.
so he's found alive by Hydra, and then I'm trying to see if it says anything. No, it says nothing.
So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume, which I know is a bad thing, that he didn't bother looking for Bucky.
But he just assumed.
He just
Well,
assumed he died when he fell off the
yeah,
train.
yeah, but he doesn't even go looking for his body.
No.
Like, doesn't even ask someone. If he had better things to do and go fight Hydra, then why don't they just send somebody? Like, he's Captain fucking America. He could have asked somebody to go look for him. They could have gone back and just tried to recover his body. But
I
still, like, there's no guarantee that guy, didn't survive the fall.
mhm.
Regular humans survive big falls like that all the time, especially like if you're gonna fall on snow that's cushioned more than just
Mhm.
like rocks or something, right?
Yeah.
There's chance. There's a
People have
chance.
survived jumping off the bridge. I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge or the one in San Francisco. But people have survived jumping
Mhm.
off bridges into water, which technically you're not supposed to do because everything's supposed to just go smoosh when you hit the water, depending on how high up you are.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, so like he could have been like, no, we need to send a recon team to see if we can find him. No, he didn't because he falls off the train, and I think the
Mhm.
next scene is it cuts to them at a bar and he's drinking and he's like, one of the side effects of the super serum is that I metabolize alcohol fast, aka I can't get drunk. And Peggy's all like, oh, I'm sorry, Steve, about Bucky and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, go fucking look for your best friend.
Yeah. Like after your mission, go look. Go
Because
take a
literally all they
look.
had to do on the train was get the doctor, Zola. That was
Mhm.
their goal, and they got him. So they could have gone after they had Zola in prison to go look for him. But no,
Right.
Steve had to try and get drunk, even though he couldn't because he was sad. And like I said, Peggy comes in like, oh, I'm sorry about your friend, Steve. Like, fuck off, Peggy.
The accent. It's nowhere near. It's the wrong area.
I know it's the wrong area. I'm very well aware of that.
No, I just can't.
I know it's the wrong
It's
area.
a very serious episode, Rachel.
I know it's a very serious. It's a very serious episode, Melanie. I know this
Righty
is.
on then.
I know this is the wrong area, but it's just my default. Okay. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so to me that's the first time
Mhm.
Steve betrays Bucky.
Mhm.
It's not till the end of the line. It's like this
Till
is
the end
a
of you fall off the train.
this is a dashed line. It's like a nice dotted line
There's
where
some breaks
passing
in
is
the line.
allowed,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's a passing
right?
lane.
Yes, that's what it is. It's like, oh, look at the broken white line. We can cross over that whenever we want, and I may
Mhm.
never come back.
Exactly. I may just keep driving
Hmm.
and just fuck all y'all.
I may kick you out of the car. Just
Exactly.
little boot, you know?
And then assume that you're dead.
Yeah. Just forget all about you,
I'm just
right?
gonna forget about, I'm gonna forget about my best friend who was there when both my parents died and offered to take me in. And I'm gonna be like, oh no, I gotta do this mission because this fancy British lady wants me to do this mission and she gave me a smooch.
Mm.
So, we're like a thing now because we had one kiss.
And I mean, he spent he spends a month looking for him when like Bucky's first captured by Hydra,
Hmm.
right? A month and then he finds him and rescues him,
Hmm.
right? So apparently that's all he's willing to do. And he's like, I've already spent 30 days. I can't do 31. I wasted those the last time. You shouldn't
He's
have
like,
fallen off the train.
I have to split up my days effectively.
Like, I only have 30 days of search in me, and I
Hmm.
used all 30 of them the first time you went missing. So just, maybe wear a seatbelt.
Yeah, maybe we should put child locks on trains.
Yeah. Like, maybe you shouldn't even been on the train. Maybe you should just
Mhm.
went home, Bucky. I
Yeah.
don't need you here. I have other howling commandos.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do? Be my best friend? No, thank you. I've got fame and fortune now.
I don't need you.
I'm important. I no longer need the bodyguard.
I am my own bodyguard now.
I got inflated.
I
That's
got
what they mean by inflation. It's not a financial term. It's when you blow somebody up with steroids.
Okay, I'm glad you finished
Fancy
that sentence.
steroids.
I was about to be like,
Rachel,
Melanie. Melanie.
let me tell you a little something. There's
Yeah,
something called a joke, and I make them quite frequently.
I know.
Sometimes they make no sense, but someone will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, because you're not really my best friend.
I am your best friend, Melanie. I would search all over God's green earth to find you if you went missing.
I do get lost a lot.
Because I mean till the end of the line. Till the end of the fucking line. Listen, you're not dying without me. We die together.
If you die, I'm coming with
If you
you.
die, I'm coming with you, even if I'm not close to death.
We're getting a double wide casket.
Hell yeah, we are.
Or you can just, it might be cheaper to get me a little sidecar.
No, we're gonna just yes, maybe it might be cheaper.
You picture a sidecar casket. A casket and then like a smaller casket just
Smaller
attached to the side.
We gotta share a grave plot, okay?
That's what till the end of the line means.
That's what to the end of the line means, Steve.
It means you handcuff yourself to the other one.
Exactly.
You don't leave, even when they want to spend time with their boyfriend.
Exactly. Gonna handcuff myself to you when I'm home in August.
Yeah. You haven't invited me to that wedding.
Listen, Kayla said I could have a +1 if I wanted.
I'm busy.
That's what I thought.
I don't know when it is.
It's August. I
I don't want to go to a wedding.
You fine, then don't ask me to invite you.
I just want to be invited.
I invited you and you declined me, okay?
Yeah, I didn't think you would. I thought you didn't have a +1.
She said I could have one.
I'm all bluster, Rachel.
Well, because I told her about the boy, and she's like, "Oh, you can have a +1 if you want." I was like, "Well, he kind of doesn't live here," and she's like, "Yeah, that would be a problem." I'm like, "Yeah,
Louisiana, Newfoundland.
Louisiana to Newfoundland, that would be quite the trip. Here, come to this wedding where you know nobody, and here's meeting my parents."
Also, he just lives in Louisiana, Newfoundland. It's a place here. Didn't you
Yes,
know?
I knew that. I know things.
But Steve Rogers, how dare he? What else did he do before the big betrayal?
Oh my gosh, what didn't
Oh,
he
he
do?
shoved him in a fridge, basically, in Wakanda.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He spends, okay, this is, before we get into that, we got to go back to The Winter Soldier, that movie. Because for whatever reason, after not bothering to look for his best friend,
He
he's
has a good time making
plagued.
out with the great granddaughter or something of, you know, his the love of his life that he kissed
Mhm.
that one time or something.
Mhm. Mhm. But besides making out with Sharon, who was Peggy's niece,
There we go.
um he for some reason is plagued by these thoughts and memories of Bucky, even though he didn't bother to look for him for like 5 seconds. And it's like, oh, my friend, oh, Bucky, oh, my friend, oh,
That's
I'm
a
so
plot device if I've ever heard one.
sad. I'm so sad. Oh my God, I wish I could see him. I can't believe he's dead. Me. We could be doing this together. Me. And
It's
then
like the
when
first time he's thought of him in like 70 years.
legit though, the first time, probably more than 70 years, but that's the first time he's thought of him in like 70 plus years, that he's just like, man, Bucky, man, I'm Steve Rogers, man, I'm thinking about my best friend, man, even though I haven't thought of him in like 70 years. It doesn't matter that I've been on ice.
He just needs a sidekick,
Yes.
right? And like Natasha Romanoff, not sidekick energy,
Oh, she
right?
is not. She is big dick energy, not
Yeah,
sidekick energy.
yeah. And she's not taking the back seat no matter what. Like
Oh,
she's
hell
not
no.
gonna be like the helper person that stands behind and makes him look good, right?
Hmm.
Bucky's willing to do that because Bucky's humble,
Hmm.
right? And he just loves, he loves his best friend. He's
Hmm.
willing to support him, right? But like Natasha's like her own thing. And she's not gonna just like, oh, okay, I'll be number two to Captain America. Like,
Even
why
at
can't I be number one?
Yeah, like even at the beginning of the Winter Soldier, she has her own mission, and he's like, "That's not the mission," and she's like, "That's your mission. My mission is to do this thing because I don't listen to you, Mr. Spanks,
Mr. Spandex.
Mr. Spandex." And
Stupid
then,
spandex costume.
and then he's plagued by, oh, Bucky, meh, Bucky, meh, meh, meh. And then, of course, they run into the Winter Soldier, who is, spoiler alert, Bucky, if nobody has seen this movie. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's been out for almost 10 years. What are you doing with your life?
They're living under rocks.
Again. So, and then he sees him because the mask falls off Bucky's face. And he's like, Bucky? And who the hell is Bucky?
Mm-hmm.
And he's
He's
like,
like, what? Everyone's gonna know I never looked for you and I'm a total asshole now.
mm-hmm. And then he's like, and then he becomes obsessed. I know he's still in there. I know it's the Bucky I know. I'm gonna rescue him. You didn't bother rescuing him 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you want to rescue him because you know he's alive? You know what you could have done, Steven? You could have gone to look for him to confirm if he was alive and save him from Hydra. And then save him from having to get his mind.
Steven.
Save him from having to get his mind wiped, Steven.
Yeah. Maybe you're in the wrong century doing this.
Steven.
And did you ever apologize? I don't think so.
He didn't. You know what? He did not apologize to him once throughout the Marvel universe. Not once did he apologize to him. He didn't
No.
be like, listen, dude,
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry I didn't bother looking for you, but I thought you were dead.
Mhm. And you know why he might not have? Because then he'd have to admit that he didn't look for him, and Bucky wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly.
And there's not many people alive in this universe that would know the difference,
Exactly.
that have lived as long, right?
They're all dead.
Yeah, because they all died of old age.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you're not put on ice, Steven.
hmm
People die of old age.
You're not shot up with super soldier serum and shoved in a freezer. Okay, this is what normal people do, and you've forgotten what normal. It's like when people get really rich
Hmm.
and then they forget like the value of a dollar,
Yes.
and they're just like, "What? That's only $500. That's chump change." I'm so rich. It's like
I'm
that,
so
but
rich.
with like notoriety.
Hmm.
He's like, I'm Captain fucking America now. Everybody loves me. I'm America's golden boy. Does anyone even know who Bucky is? No, because I basically just overshadowed him completely and pretended he didn't exist. So much
Oh,
so that I was like, oh, he fell. And he could have fell 2 feet, and Steve would have been like, he's dead. We're done.
honestly, though, Steve would have rolled like an investigation check. Yes, I'm bringing a Dungeons and Dragon references, and he would have got a nat 1 and been like, "Well, that's it. He's dead. Can't see
Well,
him."
and the DM is like, no, 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 he's totally fine. And he's like, no, I know it.
Nah,
He's gone.
didn't
Just
see
gonna
him.
throw a
He's
funeral
dead.
now. But I'm
Yep.
I'm the host. I'm like, ugh. The relationship I had with him was so strong. Oh, I miss him so much. It's all about me, me, me. In the dungeon match, like, would you just listen for a fucking sec? He's fine. Look, would you look over here? He scraped his knee. Damn it. He's fine.
He's fine. Nope, he's dead.
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 Oh, the calamity.
The horror.
How will I ever get over this? Is my sanity in check? I don't know.
The horror. The Hodor.
Too soon.
Always too soon.
It's too soon. This is not that episode either.
I
We're
know.
gonna get to Game of
We're gonna
Thrones.
get to that one. Anyways,
Okay.
yes.
Where else are we in this?
So,
What else did Steve fuck up?
you know what else he fucked up? The fact that the fact that he literally was like, I'm just gonna throw everything away for my friend who I didn't bother to look for because I know he's still in there, even though his brain is basically a smoothie. But that don't matter. I'm gonna save him now. You know why he's gonna save him? Because Steve got a guilty conscience. That is why. Because he knows he fucked up. And he knows they didn't look for him, and he feels guilty that he survived and Bucky quote unquote didn't, and now he's trying to make it up.
I think he also has a hero complex.
What gave
and
you
I'm
that?
not so convinced.
Really? Who gave you that idea?
I don't even know if he's guilty. Like, I don't even think he feels guilty. I think he's like always looking to do something just for the fact of it. Like, I will do a good thing so that people will appreciate me, kind of thing, right? Like, he wants that hero life.
Yes.
He wants to be admired and adored and just like be that pillar of virtue that everybody's like, I must emulate him.
He wants to be God's righteous man, as Ultron once said.
Ultron knew what was up.
Oh, Ultron definitely knew what was up.
I mean, he had some bad ideas as well. Like, you know, all of them. But
who in the Marvel universe didn't have a bad idea? Besides Clint Barton and Ant-Man.
I still haven't seen Ant-Man, so I'm just thinking about Clint.
Clint didn't really have any bad ideas, so...
I mean, he thought he could beat Natasha in a fight.
Okay, well, that was
gonna
his
kill themselves
one bad idea that he had, okay? He knew when the going got tough that he was just like, you know what? I'm going to go to my farm and just be with my family, and it's going to be fine.
He thought he could take Yelena, you know?
Yelena, yeah, he did.
Yelena. What? I can't say her name. I'm sorry. I love her, but I can't say her name right.
Yeah, it's Yelena.
I can't say Yvonne right either most of the time. Because I want to go Yvonne.
Yvonne? Like, Yvonne?
Yes, okay. I get it. I mess it up. The Y's screw me up. You're with me to the end of the line, Rachel. Double down.
I am with you to the end of the line, okay? I'm with you to the end of the line. Don't worry, I got you.
And the end of this podcast.
And this is the end of the podcast.
Till the end of the podcast.
Till the end of this podcast.
Also, I mean, the things Steve has done, he could go about them so much better. Right? Like, I'm trying to think in Civil War, that whole thing, and like with Tony finding out that the Winter Soldier killed his parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about some betrayals. Let's talk about that betrayal. Because how can you, as Captain America, who's like, apparently, as Ultron said, God's righteous man, and he's like, I'm stand up for all the good things. How can you, in good conscience, keep that from a teammate? Like, how did he look Tony in the eye every single fucking day, knowing that Bucky was the one who killed his parents, and just be like, this is fine, everything's fine, I'm just gonna pretend like I don't know this and keep a straight face? Like, how?
Yep.
You know what? He doesn't have a
He's a
guilty conscience.
liar.
I take back what I said. He doesn't have a guilty conscience. He don't
See?
fucking
See?
care.
I knew you'd come around.
He don't
It's all
fucking
about
care.
image. It's all about image, right? Like, he needs to be the righteous man. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a great way to describe him. He
Mm-hmm.
has to be that. And then I think, like, he might convince himself that it's for, like, a good purpose. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that he has good intentions and this is all this, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. But,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think deep down, it's a complex,
Yeah.
right? He wants to be he wants to be the best person. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
be, I'm a good person and I want everybody to know that
Mm-hmm.
and tell me that I am and compliment me for it and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Oh, wow, when I grow up I want to be like Steve Rogers."
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a showy thing. Otherwise, you do things when people aren't looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people weren't looking, what was he doing? Not looking for Bucky.
He was keeping secrets from his teammates,
Mhm.
especially Tony. Like,
Yeah.
come on. I know him and Tony don't get along, which is the whole point because they're
Mhm.
very similar and they both have a bit of a god complex.
Mhm. But Tony seems much more aware of it
Oh, Tony is very much aware of his god complex. Like,
and like admits to it,
yes.
but still does what he wants to do. But,
Yes.
you know, is much more self-aware.
Hmm.
I think if Steve had just like tried to sit Tony down and tell him what happened
Hmm.
about the whole Bucky killing his parents while brainwashed.
Hmm.
So I think that could have helped a lot in the sense that you wouldn't have had this fight where Tony was trying to kill Bucky.
Hmm.
And just like Bucky could have been um, triggered at
Hmm.
that point and gone full Winter Soldier and just friggin' killed Tony and Steve at the time.
Hmm.
So Steve is, both, just an idiot and self centered and also just reckless as all hell.
Yes. 100%. And like the fact that that's the biggest thing. Like Steve should have told Tony, like you said, sat him down and been like,
Hmm.
listen. But also the fact that even after Tony found out, he was still trying to be like, it wasn't him. And like, as somebody else who has also lost his parents, like,
Hmm.
you think he'd have a bit of sympathy for the man finding out that it wasn't an
Yeah.
accident because Tony grew up his whole life assuming that his parents died in a freak car accident. Not his whole life,
Hmm.
but like the rest of his
Yeah.
life. He believed that they were killed in a car accident. And he was kind of
Hmm.
like at peace, quote unquote, with that. Then to
Yeah.
find out your parents were actually killed by a Hydra operative who is
Hmm.
your teammate's best friend, and he
Hmm.
knew this and kept it from you. He basically has to reprocess his parents' death all over again.
Not to mention that Howard, Tony's father, was friends. Like,
With
not
Steve.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Steve and Bucky would have known him, and
Mhm.
Steve, from that first movie, you could tell that they had this rapport. Howard made him his shield.
Mhm.
So, like, he didn't just betray Tony there, he betrayed his old friend,
Yeah,
his old dead friend.
but
Seems
still.
like all Steve's friends end up dead.
Yeah, they really do. But that's the thing. So like you said, he betrayed Howard and Tony and he knew Howard.
Mhm.
And like that's the thing. That's what it comes back to. Like how can you look him in the eye knowing that you knew this man's father? You fought
Mhm.
alongside him basically. He built you
Yep.
the shield. He outfitted
Served in the
all of you,
war.
served in the war, outfitted all your guys, and you're just going to be
Mhm.
like, this is kind of no big deal that your dad was killed by my best friend, like NBD.
Yeah, not like it's Tony's business.
Yeah, definitely not. And like I said, Tony basically had to reprocess his parents' death over again.
Mhm. Also, another point. Who was in the best position to get Bucky help? Tony.
Tony was.
Tony's the one with all the financial ability there. He's richer than God himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has connections. He could have helped Steve find somebody to help deprogram Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
If Steve had went to Tony and sat him down and said, "I've come aware of this information. Your
Mm-hmm.
parents were actually killed by Hydra," and like explained it all out that Bucky has been brainwashed and all of this, and that there's no way he could control himself. Like a few words and he's gone. He's a shell. And tried to do that. It wouldn't have worked right away. Obviously, Tony's very hot headed. But eventually, I think he would have come to the realization that Hydra isn't like Hydra's the enemy, not Bucky. So why not take the weapon away from Hydra by
Mm-hmm.
deprogramming Bucky?
And that's the thing. Like, not only could have Tony helped, but Banner could have helped as well.
Hmm.
Like Bruce Banner, one of the most genius scientists of
Hmm.
all times
In the Marvel Universe.
in the Marvel universe. He could have
Hmm.
helped him. Like they could have worked on it together. Yes, I know Wakanda is like more advanced and everything. I get it. They have all the fancy tech, they have all the blah blah blah. But like they had resources outside of Wakanda.
Hmm.
Like they could have gone to, like you said, they could have gone to Tony and been like, "Hey, I need help." They could have gone to Fury. Fury probably has resources.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't trust Fury with something like that,
No, I wouldn't trust Fury, but
right?
they could have gone
But
to
like,
him.
there was options. But
Yeah.
like, I'm also thinking like Tony also has the resources and the facilities to be able to incarcerate Bucky.
Hmm.
Not like in a way that's like, oh yeah, we're gonna shove you in a freezer,
Hmm.
but like they've got rooms made for the Hulk.
Hmm.
I'm sure Bucky can't get out of that. Put him in like an area, like set him up where he can actually live decent life there for a little bit and be like, we're gonna find a way to deprogram you. Here's
Hmm.
a spot that you can be safe. If anything were to trigger you, you can't get out. You can't hurt anybody. So they could have done that in the meantime, right? Like not the nicest thing to do to somebody, but you have a walking weapon that would have no control of themselves, like what would used to happen with the Hulk.
Hmm.
They could do that. They could find a way that he doesn't have to be frozen, which honestly, re-traumatizing. Let's shove you back in a freezer again.
Hmm.
And like maybe they needed Wakanda to do it, but Tony could have like Tony had resources there.
Tony could have at least tried.
Hmm.
Like they could have gone to him and been like, "Let's try this." And then if it
Hmm.
didn't work, then they could be like, "Okay, maybe we go to Wakanda now because they got more advanced technology." But also, he literally left Bucky in Wakanda by
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
He said, "Let's get you some help. Also, I'm a peace out because
Also,
I'm an awful person."
yeah. And also, look at Bucky. That's real selfless when he's like, I'm a weapon, I'm dangerous, put me back on ice until you figure out a way to get this out of my head.
Hmm.
It was his idea, I believe. Him and like possibly um, Black Panther.
Yeah,
But like
T'Challa. Yeah, him
he
and
volunteers that,
yeah.
right? He's not like, no, 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 don't lock me back up. I want to be out there and just see what happens.
Hmm.
He's like, no, I'll do it. Like that's a good person.
Like he's aware how dangerous he is unchecked.
Hmm.
So it's just one of those things that like It just makes me so
Steve
mad.
Rogers is dangerous, unchecked.
Yes, he is.
There's the whole saying of like power corrupts.
Mm-hmm.
And it pretty much does with a lot. It doesn't have to. But unchecked
Mm-hmm.
and not being self-aware and having people around you to check you, power, money, anything will corrupt. Too much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Steve was corrupted by this. Not as bad as you could be in terms of he's not going out killing innocent people,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also not doing the right thing all the time, and he's not admitting when he doesn't do the right thing.
Well, who was it? I think it was Zemo who said that the serum enhances certain characteristics.
Mm-hmm. What's
So,
already
like,
there.
that's already there. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
Steve already had a savior complex.
Yeah.
So, that getting injected enhanced his savior complex, like, tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
And enhanced all of his, like, risk taking things and all this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we look at John Walker and what happened to him when he took the super soldier serum, his characteristics that he had, like
Being an
trying
asshole.
being an asshole and like trying to finish the job and everything like that, that got enhanced as well, and that turned out very badly for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason Steve didn't end up the same way that John did is because people needed, I say that with quotes around it, they needed Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Like technically, they don't need Captain America. They don't need John Walker.
No.
Like
But
they just
mm-hmm.
don't.
Yeah. I think with Steve it didn't corrupt as badly as like John Walker
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that I think he started off better than that, right?
Yeah.
But I think the fact of him being this skinny little kid who's getting the shit kicked out of him and no one would let him do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of like warped into now he's got the ability to go do things
Mm-hmm.
and be the leader and all of
Mm-hmm.
this. And everybody's looking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that part started to get to his head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think he kind of started from a less bad place and it just goes up a little.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got like the successor to Steve, which is Sam Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen him go through a lot yet in terms of like a long thing of story arc, but right now we've got somebody who's he helps veterans,
Mm-hmm.
right? He counsels them.
Mm-hmm.
He he's a military guy, right? He served.
Yeah, he served. He
Yeah.
did 2 tours, is what he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've got that. He's got no superpowers,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's just got some cool wings and now a shield,
Yes.
right? And combat ability and stuff like that. But like he's the regular guy. And he also came from a place of, being black and growing up like that, having
Mm-hmm.
being in a minority. He's going to have to deal with, racial insults, with prejudices. Like, he's gone through a hardship
Mm-hmm.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got more of an understanding and less of I'm just a white boy who wants to be in charge.
Yeah, and even he says in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm a black guy
Mm-hmm.
wearing the stars and stripes. What don't I
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like he is
Excellent quote.
aware. He is that's an excellent quote. I might have paraphrased it, but like that's an excellent quote because that encapsulates
Encapsulate? Yeah.
encapsulates. I know,
Get it? No, encap?
Yeah, I get
Cap?
it.
Like
I
cap?
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But that encapsulates it perfectly Because, like,
Mhm.
he knows there's people out there who are going to be like, a black Captain America. No, thank you. I don't want
Mhm.
that. But, like,
There's gonna be so many little kids going, "Oh my gosh, a black Captain America. He looks like me." Right?
exactly.
Like,
And that's
finally
the,
getting to see themselves.
and kind of outside of the Marvel universe, that was the thing I know with like Black Panther. Because there
Mhm.
was a video, I think, of like Chadwick Boseman, oh, rest in peace,
Yeah.
um, meeting fans, and they
Mhm.
were all like people of color, and they were saying like it's so nice to see representation of us,
Yeah. Right?
and
Like, representation matters,
mhm,
right? No matter if it's racial representation, representation of people with disabilities,
mhm,
you know, just different cultures, everything. It
mhm,
matters. And when you can't find somebody that looks like you or sounds like you or thinks like you
mhm,
in something as like iconic as, like as a superhero,
mhm,
then like looking at it from as a form of media and as like if you were in that world and
mhm,
saw Captain America, a black man is Captain America, like came from working class. He wasn't like some rich boy,
mhm.
right? Not like a John Walker situation where they're just like, this fancy boy, let's put him in.
Yeah, or even like the other thing is, Sam is not a super soldier.
Hmm.
Sam is literally just some guy that
Some guy.
I know, some guy.
Yeah.
But he's just some guy that happened to come across Captain America when he was out for a run.
Hmm.
Sam, I almost said Sam. Steve liked him because he
Hmm.
could tell that he was a good person.
Hmm.
And he trusts this person who's not a super soldier, is just a regular, everyday person who goes to work, comes home, pays his bills, makes breakfast, all these types of things to
Yep.
carry on his legacy. He could have picked Bucky, which I think a lot of
Hmm.
people expected to be the obvious choice.
Hmm.
But like, no, he picked this regular guy.
Hmm. And I think the like handing over the shield to Sam was the best decision Steve made.
Hmm.
Like, of all the decisions he ever made, that was like that we saw on screen, right?
Yeah.
That was the best one. Best thing he could have done. But we haven't even talked about the worst betrayal, the big one,
The big one.
the one that inspired this episode, the one
Yes.
where he finally broke the till the end of the line vow that they
Hmm.
had. Want to tell us a little bit about it, Rachel?
So,
Do you need a
just,
minute?
I need a minute. Just, okay.
Because
So,
everything else
Endgame.
was fixable so far.
Endgame.
Hmm.
They beat Thanos.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, Tony dies, but Tony knew he had to die.
Yeah. Tony made a hero sacrifice.
He did. They have to put the stones back to make sure they don't muck up the timelines. Even though that doesn't matter because the timelines get mucked up anyways, but that is besides the point.
That's too far ahead. Too far ahead. Stick to the story.
Steve is going back in time to put the stones back. And he's supposed to come back. He doesn't come back.
Supposed to. He doesn't
He
even
doesn't
take
come.
his thing. The thing. What
No.
is it? The time travel thing.
Oh yeah, the watch, the Pym particles.
Yeah. He doesn't take them to
No.
have a way to come back.
No.
So he knew before he left that he wasn't coming.
There's also an argument out there that Bucky knew he wasn't going to come back. And that's besides the point, all right? The
I don't believe
point
that.
is he
Conspiracy theory.
made a conscious decision
Mm-hmm.
to go back in time
Mm-hmm.
and leave his friend to deal with the 21st century alone, basically.
Mm-hmm. And Bucky's just gotten his shit together.
Bucky literally just got his shit together. He got
Yeah.
blipped, first of all.
Yeah.
So he was gone for like 5 years. He comes back.
I forgot about that part.
How could you forget
Poor
about that part?
Bucky.
He got blipped, remember?
Yeah. So, Steve lost 5 more years
Yeah.
with his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Best friend.
Best friend, quote, heavy quotes.
Yeah.
So he did that. He blipped. He comes back. They're in the middle of a battle.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even
Bucky
have
doesn't know what's going on.
Bucky don't know what the fuck is going on.
He's
He's
just
like,
like,
I
oh,
am.
Steve says fight, I'm fighting.
Yeah.
I'm there. I got you.
He's like, Steve says jump, how I say how high. So he comes
No,
back.
he's like, doesn't even say how high. He's just there. He's jumping.
Yeah. He comes back. They fight. They don't even have a second to like chat from what we've seen, because literally they fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tony dies. Then it jumps straight to Tony's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Then it jumps straight to Steve got to return the stones.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a second for them to like talk and be like, oh my God, I missed you. This is what's happened while you were gone, blah, 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 blah. None of that. None of that happened. None of this heartfelt moment. We even got a heartfelt moment between Peter and Tony, okay? Tony hugged the kid,
Yeah.
which, like, Tony doesn't show emotion very often.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Steve
And
made this decision because you know why he made this decision? You know what? You know why he made this decision? Because he got to see Peggy when they had to divert their time heist to get the Tesseract. Because they got goofed when they went back to get it from 2011. Because Loki took it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Loki hadn't have taken the Tesseract, they wouldn't have had to go back to 1974 to get it. Steve wouldn't have seen Peggy. I wouldn't have been like, oh, Peggy, my happiness, my one true love that I kissed once, but I knew it was love from the first time we kissed. The one time
so
we
much
kissed.
so that I looked for you and your niece.
Yes, definitely. We're not, no. No. We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. But like, he's seen her and was like, ah, yes, this woman that I kissed once. And she's the love of my life, even though I kissed her once. And she hated me from the get-go. And she saw me kiss another girl. Love my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to abandon my best friend who just came back from being gone for 5 years, who just got his mind back.
Mm-hmm. He was literally, his brain was mush, and then
Mm-hmm.
he got his shit together, and then he turned to dust, and then he came back, and Steve's like, well, bye for now, and just like doesn't explain that he's gonna be bye forever,
Mm-hmm.
and then shows up, when he's like 80, and he's like, hey, so funny story.
And you know what? I know I said this already, but fuck Peggy Carter. Like, no.
I don't really have such a big problem with Peggy.
I have a
It's
problem.
all Steve. Steve is the problem.
Yeah, but she's a by proxy.
By proxy?
I meant to say byproduct of proxy, and it came out by proxy.
That's what I thought.
She's a byproduct of Steve's decision. So, Pia Cuez, I hate her.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of an accomplice. But you know what? Like, wouldn't it be hilarious if he went back and Peggy was like, who are you? I don't even remember you. You're just like another blonde dude.
You're just another
Here's my
blonde dude.
husband.
Oh my God, that would have been hilarious.
It would have been what he deserved.
But he didn't deserve it because they're like, he needs a happy ending. I'm like, no, he
Or
fucking doesn't.
or if she had been like doesn't have anyone with her or anything. He comes back and comes to see her and she's like, "Oh, that you want to do that date.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying that because you're about to die." Awkward.
It's like, this is awkward. I didn't actually want to go on the date. See, I'm more into this other guy.
I'm more into like anybody else. But
Yeah.
you were like about to crash a plane and die,
Hmm.
and I was just like, you know what? Let's give you like a little bit of hope.
Let's give you a false sense of security.
Yeah, like let's give you some nice things to think about while you're like
Hmm.
drowning. That's what I thought. Drowning's not a nice way to go, but thinking about, taking out a woman might help. And I
Yeah,
was the only one around. The
exactly.
other the other ones didn't want to do it. I asked.
Nobody wanted to do it because they said you're weird.
And he's kind of smell funny.
Yeah.
And they're like, we think he has foot fungus. We're not
He's
going to do
got
that.
Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want to find in your Burger King sandwich is someone's foot fungus. But as it turns out, that's exactly what you'll get.
I didn't know you were going to come up with that there.
That
And
is,
just pull that out. I know it is. But I didn't realize that was coming.
I didn't know it was coming either until you said foot fungus.
I was just like, what smells bad? That would be really off-putting. Foot fungus.
So, fun fact, Noah has that as a sound on his channel. And we all have it memorized now.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know I was going to do that, but I'm glad I did.
It was great.
Oh my god.
So wait, where were we? So
Uh,
I believe he didn't tell Bucky,
oh, I believe he didn't tell Bucky either.
because if we're just going by what you could see on screen,
Hmm.
he seems to have not told anybody. Everybody seems shocked,
Hmm.
and he never has a conversation with anybody to say, "Hey, I'm not coming back, guys.
Hmm.
I'd like to say goodbye." And I think the least he owed Bucky was to say goodbye and explain his reasoning,
Hmm.
right? But he didn't do that. He just, like, he did the cowardly thing
Hmm.
and just said, "Oh, I'll see you in a bit, bud," and then gone.
He basically just ghosted Bucky.
Yes,
Instead of like
exactly.
having a conversation so like, you meet somebody on a dating app on a dating app and you don't think it's going well. The mature thing to
Mhm.
do would be to be like, listen, you're a nice person, but like I don't see this going anywhere. I don't feel any chemistry, like I wish you luck. Nah,
Mhm.
people just don't answer them.
Mhm.
And then you get people that are sending messages like, I don't know why this person's not answering me. I don't know what I did. And then you get into like, oh, this person's fucking nuts, man.
And you know what? This is the worst time for Captain America to get with the 21st century.
Hmm.
He finally does something that's like 21st century appropriate. And what does he do? Screw over his best friend.
Exactly.
And like, no one's talking about Sam either. Like, I mean, no one, like me and you.
Yes.
But no one's talking about he screwed over Sam too. Sam and him became really close, right? Close
Yes.
enough that like he was like his go-to besides Bucky.
Hmm.
And he didn't have a conversation with him. Sam clearly is shocked, like
Hmm.
much more visibly than Bucky, but Bucky's just very like um, like stoic anyway.
Hmm.
But Bucky's I mean Sam is like visibly shocked when they're like, he didn't take his thing.
Hmm.
He didn't take the time travel stuff with him to be able to come back.
Well, he also
He's
missed
stuck.
the return spot that he was supposed to do. Because Sam was
Mhm.
like, bring him back. And Banner's like, I'm trying, I'm trying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like, also,
So
how are you just gonna leave Bucky with Sam?
yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
like
get
each
along at
other.
that point.
They don't like each other.
Yeah.
They barely tolerate each other.
Mhm.
The
And
only reason
clearly,
that they do the only reason that they put up with each other is because of Steve, and Steve is gone.
exactly. Steve was the glue.
Hmm.
And then the whole like Falcon and Winter Soldier series,
Hmm.
it's like Steve, I mean, not Steve, fuck Steve, but Bucky and Sam grow closer and grow to like each other. But at the beginning of
Mhm.
that, they're really pissed off at each other.
They are. They hate each other.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes for some really good TV.
It
But
does.
still, Steve Rogers, you should have at least had a long conversation explaining what you wanted to do and why
Mm-hmm.
before you fucked off and take the coward's way out.
And you know what? Maybe if they had a conversation, they could have talked him out of it and been like, dude, no.
Hmm. Yeah, like, dude, she doesn't even like you.
Because here's the other thing. By him going back in time, he messed up their current timeline.
Right? I didn't even think about that.
Because there's no Captain America in that timeline.
Selfish.
Selfish.
Selfish son of a
Selfish,
bitch.
selfish, selfish. That was really hard to say multiple times
Hmm.
in a row.
I could hear it. But yeah, like the time-space continuum. Maybe that's why the whole the Doctor Strange thing happened after. Maybe it was Steve's fault.
Maybe it was.
Hmm. Maybe that's why. Maybe it wasn't Peter. Definitely wasn't. Peter's lovely. Steve's the
Peter's great.
problem.
Peter is a sweet baby angel.
Yeah, Peter did nothing.
No.
Don't look into that. Don't fact check that. It's totally just
We're not
Steve.
fact checking. Listen, this episode is about Steven Rogers. We are not talking about Peter Parker. Okay?
Steven the Devil Rogers.
Steven the betrayer Rogers. We're not talking about Peter Parker.
Traitor to his country, traitor to his friends, traitor to the Avengers.
Exactly. Traitor to
Traitor to
everyone.
our hearts.
Betrayed my heart, man.
Yeah. I can't even experience attraction toward Chris Evans anymore. And Steve Rogers is the cause of that.
Facts. That's some hard facts. We have had this
Yeah.
conversation in detail
How problematic is that?
on and off the podcast, I'm pretty sure, about how you're not
Yeah.
attracted to him anymore because of that.
Yeah. It just ruined it. And I think I'm demisexual. That's
Yes,
what I identify
we
this
have
as.
discussed
So,
this. I'm straight. I'm
mhm.
heterosexual. I'm straight.
I mean, I'm hetero, but demisexual. Because I can't just like look at someone and be like, damn, right? I mean,
Mhm,
like, I can appreciate the aesthetic,
mhm,
but like, I don't have the sexual attraction without having some type of like attraction to personality,
mhm.
right? So now I've lost any attraction I've had to both Steve Rogers and um and Chris Evans. Totally
Mhm.
forgot his name. My brain said you don't need that anymore.
No,
He
your brain
betrayed
literally
you.
was like, "You don't need this information."
Like, we're throwing that out.
Yes.
You know what you need? Pirate law.
Pirate
It
law,
won't
that is
betray
what you
you.
need. Yes.
Pirates won't betray you.
But that's the
But
thing. Like,
Captain America did.
Captain America did betray us. And then we got John Walker because of like, ugh.
I know. He left that open.
Mhm,
And like Sam tried to do the right thing. It was just like, well, I'm gonna donate the shield and stuff to the museum because he didn't feel worthy.
mhm,
And then ended up with John Walker, which was like the Walmart brand
mhm.
of Captain America.
Hang on. I just thought of something.
What?
He donated the shield. So how would he be able to donate it if this world doesn't have a Captain America? Because Steve went back and lived with Peggy, unless he continued to be Captain America while he was with Peggy.
The timeline doesn't make sense,
The
Rachel.
timeline doesn't make sense.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. Hang on.
Rachel, a
Melanie.
man turns into a giant green hulking monster. People do magic. People have magic rings and can make little holes in things and jump through portals. Bucky's got an arm that works like a regular arm, but it's actually metal and attached to his brain
It's
somehow.
vibranium, thank you, not metal. There's a difference,
Vibranium is
okay?
a type of metal in that universe.
It's vibranium.
It is. You hesitated. You know I'm right. might have a better wealth of knowledge there than I say when I know I'm right. You can't take this little win away from me.
I'm not gonna take it away from you. But that doesn't make
Vibranium
sense.
is metal.
But that doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense. They gave a scrawny little kid a blue liquid Kool-Aid injection, and he just bulked up.
The more I think about it, that timeline doesn't make sense, and this is gonna hurt my brain.
Makes sense. None of it makes sense.
I know.
Somebody got friggin' bit by a spider. Not this, Spider-Man. Did he?
How did he turn into Spider-Man? Did he get bit by a
I don't
spider?
remember. I'm thinking the Tobey Maguire one. He was bit
I
by
know
a
he was
spider, and
bitten.
he could
I think.
make the web in his own body, all
Hang
weird.
on. I need
And
to
then
hang on.
the other one, the British one, that wasn't so good.
We gotta.
He had to like science it and make up little contraptions for his wrists.
And so does Andrew
But
Garfield.
that's what I'm talking about. The British one. Oh, they're both.
There's both British.
Okay, the tall British one.
Hang on.
What's his name?
Hang on. How did he become
I
Spider-Man?
like him.
How
The
did?
one Emma Stone had a relationship with. I didn't like those ones.
Yeah, I know.
Tobey Maguire was my favorite Spider-Man. And then Tom Holland came in, and I was like, okay, you can be tied.
Okay, but did he? Okay, we're getting off topic. I can't. We're getting off topic because I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Just don't think about the timeline too much. And don't think about how Benedict Cumberbatch, is really attractive. But only in characters.
Melanie, I'm thinking about the timeline again. I'm thinking about the timeline.
We don't have time to think about the timeline.
We don't have time to think about the timeline.
No time. No time.
Oh my god. But yeah, he abandoned. So basically, he
died at Endgame. Steve Rogers. And they should have switched him for Tony. And then at least Steve could have made up for it. Like, made up for being an idiot.
It's just like...
He definitely couldn't find his yogurt either.
No, he couldn't find his yogurt.
He needs that shirt. I gave him my yogurt. I feel like an idiot.
He abandoned his boy. He abandoned his boy, abandoned his friend. And just left Bucky and was like, listen, I know you haven't been alive in this world long enough, but like, have fun trying to figure things out yourself.
Like, good luck with smartphones. Peace.
Good luck with smartphones. Good luck with the internet. Good luck with money. Good luck with everything. Good luck with Uber.
He was just like, you know what? I'm going to give you your first lesson, Bucky, in the 21st century. This is what ghosted is.
Exactly.
Gone.
This is what ghosting is. Just.
So I just found an article.
Okay.
That's talking about the DVD commentary on Endgame.
Okay.
And apparently, the director and writers have confirmed that Bucky knew that Steve was staying in the past. That's what they said. They said they don't think he told him the full plan in terms of like every last detail. But you see that it's written that Bucky says, I'm going to miss you, when they hug before he goes into the past. And they're saying that it's clear from Sebastian's performance and that line that Bucky was clued in that Steve wasn't coming back.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He could just say he was going to miss him because he had to go back in time and put the stones back. Okay.
I mean, I get the whole point of that in terms of, yeah, maybe he told him, but still, I don't think he gave him an option. I mean, he could have asked Bucky if he wanted to come with him.
You know what? He could have.
Could have tried out a little throuple.
They could have been a throuple.
They could have been a throuple.
They could have been a throuple.
No.
Doesn't
And
matter if
we'll
he knew.
never know.
Doesn't matter if he knew because he didn't give him a proper goodbye.
No.
Just because he says,
And
I'm going to miss you, and I'm pretty sure Steve says, don't do anything stupid till I get back, and Bucky says, how can I? You're taking all the stupid with me. That's not a proper goodbye.
no.
So, like, fuck you, writers.
I think they purposefully didn't put that on screen, like, in terms of, like, a conversation or any actual goodbye, and just had the little bit of, like, I'm gonna miss you there. To put it, like, to have a little cop-out in terms of, like, let's not all hate on Captain America, right? Steve Rogers, he's a good old boy, isn't he? Right? He wouldn't just run off to the past without saying, goodbye to his friend.
No, he wouldn't do that. Why would he do that?
But it's also ambiguous enough to be like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. You can't get in trouble that way, right? So.
Yeah, but you can still get fans mad over it.
Oh, yeah. These two right here.
These two fans right here.
And we're going to turn everybody on Steve Rogers. That's my new goal.
Melanie 2024. Steve Rogers sucks.
That's my campaign platform.
I support it.
I'm going to throw out the next couple novels I'm writing. Instead, I'm just going to write propaganda about how Steve Rogers is a horrible human who should be burned.
I can't wait to see that.
I'm switching careers.
I'm okay with that.
I don't think it's a waste of time.
Nope.
I think it's a perfectly good use of my time and my skills.
I think it is. I think it's great.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
No, I think
it makes
we're
me angry.
I think we're done.
I think we might finally have come to terms. Like, I think we've gone through all the 5 stages of grief, Rachel.
Yeah, I think so.
Are we at acceptance?
I think we're at acceptance.
We accept that Steve Rogers is a piece of shit. And, Bucky and Sam forever. They have much better personality types to go together anyway.
Yes.
And season 2 can't come fast enough.
I can't wait for season 2. I'm so excited.
They better make it.
If they don't, we're coming for you. We're coming. Anyways. If you like this episode, you want to hear more about our thoughts on things, we're doing a whole series on this basically about things that we have issues with. This was our Steve Rogers one. We're going to do Game of Thrones because I
have issues with writing in a lot of things, and I'm willing to talk about it.
We're going to do
as
Harry
long
Potter.
As anybody will listen.
Yeah, we're going to do Harry Potter next. We're going to do Harry Potter at some point because
Yes. There are problems. Dumbledore, you asshole.
Yep. If you want to hear more like that, you can follow us on our social media to know when we're going to be posting new episodes and stuff. We're Inconsistent Podcast 1 on Instagram. We are Inconsistently Consistent on Facebook. If you have longer thoughts, maybe you want to chime in on the Steve is a horrible person debate, you can send us an email. We're inconsistentpodcast1@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm _RachelVR_.
You can find me on my website, melanieflynnbooks.com. Our podcast landing page is there. All the upcoming book projects I'm working on, and the links to buy the book that is out, The Toy Maker, is there. And you can find all my social medias linked to there as well.
And remember to like, rate, review us on your podcasting website. I don't know why I inflected that way. That sounded like I was asking a question.
Give us a little review, please.
Leave us a little review.
We can't just fuck off to the past, okay? We need the review.
We need the review. Actually,
I'm annoying myself with that voice.
I don't want to go to the past anyways. The past is not a good place.
No, but sometimes the present isn't so great either.
No, it's not. Anyways, bye.
Bye.